One of the easiest risottos to make and one of the best things to make with fresh truffles is a simple black truffle risotto, or as I used to call it on the line, the Rizzo, the Jizzo, inspect the deck. Okay, that's a little Wu-Tang reference, but you get the idea. First and foremost, let's talk about budget truffles for a minute. Tuber mesentericum, and estivum are going to be cheaper than black Perigord truffles that I'm cooking with in this video. There's a number of different ways you can flavor the risotto with truffle. So homemade truffle oil, I prefer this to synthetic truffle oil. Most truffle oil in jars, it's like the Axe body spray of condiments and it's way too strong. You can use it if you have some high quality stuff. Truffle butter is another option, but ideally you're going to use a combination of truffle products. The most important is as much fresh truffle as you can afford. So about half an ounce to 1 ounce for about 4 people. The more truffle, the better it will be. And this is basically just a simple white risotto with black truffles added at the very end. I don't care what anyone says, you do not sit and simmer truffles. Any type of truffle, you add it at the very end of cooking. We're going to start the pot off just like any other risotto with a little bit of onion, and we cook that until it's translucent. Then we add the risotto rice. I'm using Carnaroli. You could use Arborio, Violone Nano, or Baldo. There's Sant'Andrea. There's a bunch of different types of risotto rice. Lots of different types to discover there. Now, once the wine is added and it has been absorbed, we're going to start adding chicken stock. If you use boxed chicken stock, make sure to cut that 50-50 with water because that stuff is salty and you're going to be adding cheese. Your truffle butter is probably seasoned. You don't want this to be way too salty. Give yourself control over the salt. And all we're doing here is constantly stirring the risotto. I'm going to slow it down a little bit here. You can see I'm constantly stirring this because we don't want the risotto to stick on the pan. When it is done, the pan should be completely clean. Now we're going to cut a little bit of truffle. You don't even need to add any truffle directly to the risotto. You can, but the flavor is going to come from the truffles being added at the end, on the top, the aroma while you're eating it. But at the very end of cooking, that is when we're going to add the truffle. We do not simmer the truffle in the rice from the start. Absolutely not. That is a waste of truffle. Okay, so you can see I'm still constantly stirring this. You can also par cook the risotto, and there's a link to do that in the post at the top of the video description, but you are constantly stirring here. Okay, at the very end, you can see the heat is turned off. I'm going to add my truffle butter, my fresh black truffle, and my Parmesan cheese, and now you can see I'm vigorously beating this here. This is almost like making whipped cream. At one of the Italian restaurants I worked at, they used to call this Allen's Risotto Seizure, so that should tell you a little bit something. It should tell you a little bit there. It's basically like making whipped cream, and the risotto should always be flat. It should never be mounded. Mounding risotto is some lazy American thing that my Italian chef friends make fun of people for. This is so that the risotto is always juicy from the first bite to the last bite. It should always be flat. And then you top the risotto with as many fresh truffles as you can afford. You can cut them into julienne, you can cut them into slices, but the flavor is going to come from the truffles you put on at the end. Very, very easy, very, very good. Anyone can make this, but the fresh truffles are the most important thing. The full recipe is linked at the video description right at the top. It's on my website. Thanks for watching. Enjoy those truffles.